Greetings all, Andy from Andy from I Am here. Hope you're well. Now, today I'm going to walk you through a real case where a UK court revoked an enforcement order after a statutory declaration was filed. This is part of some real-world testing I've been doing on myself, and I've been doing it using a structured remedy process. It's a process that's designed to help people deal with escalating claims or enforcement threats in a disciplined and lawful way. In this particular case, the Traffic Enforcement Centre at Northampton County Court issued an order revoking the enforcement action. So in this video, I'm going to explain what happened, what steps we took, and what the court actually ordered. So the situation started the way many people experience things. A penalty charge was issued, and the matter eventually escalates through the enforcement process to the point of a threatening of a CCJ. As these things progress, you often receive stronger and stronger correspondence, and eventually the situation can reach a stage where an order for recovery can be issued. Now, at that stage, enforcement can escalate quickly if the matter isn't addressed properly. What many people do at that point is either ignore the situation, panic, or start arguing back and forth with the authority. But in this case, I decided to do something different. I decided to test a structured remedy process step by step. Now, the process I've been testing focuses on building a proper procedural record before anything escalates. The idea is simple. Before reacting emotionally or assuming liability, you first seek clarification of the claim. That means asking the authority to clearly identify the legal basis of the claim, the identity of the claim, and the documents relied upon. This becomes stage one. If those questions are not properly addressed, a second notice records that the clarification remains outstanding, which is stage two. Then a third notice records the procedural position, essentially documenting that the requested clarification has not been provided. And that is obviously what we call stage three. Now, at that point, you now create a written record showing that you attempted to engage reasonably and sought clarification. Now, in this particular matter, it eventually reached the enforcement stage. And at that point, the appropriate step is not further correspondence. It's to use the proper court procedure. For traffic enforcement matters in England and Wales, that procedure is statutory declaration filed with the Traffic Enforcement Centre. The Traffic Enforcement Centre is part of Northampton County Court, and it handles administrative enforcement matters. A statutory declaration allows a person to formally notify the court if something has gone wrong procedurally in the enforcement process. So a statutory declaration was filed with the court in defence, and now comes the court decision. They said, after reviewing the statutory declaration, the court issued the order. The order states that the order for recovery is revoked and the charge certificate is cancelled. What this means in practical terms is that the enforcement process is legally reset by the court. So the escalation that had taken place through the enforcement system has now stopped. The case effectively moved back to an early stage of the process. Good luck with trying to come back for that one. It's important to be very clear about something. This order does not automatically cancel the original penalty charge itself. What it does is it resets the enforcement stage, so the matter can be addressed properly within the correct procedure. That distinction is important because the goal here isn't to avoid responsibility. The goal is to ensure that proper procedure is followed. However, it's going to be more difficult for them to file a case because they've got no record. Now, the real lesson from this is that remedies does not come from argument and shouting. It doesn't come from ignoring letters, and it certainly does not come from emotional reactions. Remedy comes from process, from building a disciplined record, and from using the correct legal procedures when escalation occurs. Now, this case represents the first documented result from real-world testing of our new structured remedy framework. The purpose of documenting these cases is to show that when people follow proper procedure, maintain clear records, and use the correct legal processes, outcomes change. This is our remedy case file 001. And as further real-world testing continues, I'll be documenting additional case files and sharing the lessons learned from each one. Now, if you found this useful, follow the channel. I will continue to document real cases and explain how proper legal procedure can be used to protect yourself when claims escalate. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.